The power of Olympics, sportsmanship, and camaraderie in bringing people together. We will hear from the president of the International Bobsleigh and Skeleton Federation how the Beijing Winter Games can make a huge difference. Welcome back. I'm Tian Wei. This is World Insight from Beijing. China on Tuesday slammed the U.S. diplomatic boycott of the Beijing 2022 Winter Olympics. The Chinese Foreign Ministry said countermeasures will be taken against the boycott. The White House announced on Monday will not send U.S. government officials to the Beijing Winter Olympics. In response, the International Olympic Committee had called on members to engage in sports to promote peace and dialogue, a nod to the universal appeal of the Olympics to bring all people together despite the pandemic and geopolitical tensions. With the Winter Games less than 2 months away, let's hear from an insider, president from the International Bobsleigh and Skeleton Federation, or IBSF. Now, it's not just a pandemic, it's also politics. And you heard about the recent nuance about the US suggesting making political gestures, and some others also follow. But IOC put out a very strong and a very balanced statement. What about, your sport, and how do you communicate all these messages with all those athletes of your sport?
I say always my athletes, keep the politics out of the sport. You are here to perform the sport, and the sport is, let me say, a clean and free diplomacy. We try to put the people together without some impact of the big politics. I don't like when the big politics try to use the athletes. The athletes, they live all the life, the best years of the life, for 1 week or 2 weeks, let me say, of the Olympics. And then for most of them is the only chance to go to Olympics in entire life. And then they spend the best years of their life to go there. And then if some politician wanna have some issues, they have to work on the political level, not in a sport level, please. I am in these things absolutely a defender of the athletes' right and in sport. And the Olympic truce is something important to remind to the people. Keep the truce for almost 1 month, because we have 1 week before the Olympic Games and 1 week after the Paralympic Games. In this period, keep down all the fights, try to think a different world, and the sport can create a different world. Because if you go to the village, all the athletes, without distinction, they sit together, they talk together, they live together, and then so that is let me say, a perfect world that works just for 2 weeks. But let this perfect world be in place.
But at the same time, because of the pandemic, there's a big pressure on the Olympic movement, the International Olympic Committee. What do you make of these, economic pressure and pressures of different kinds at this moment as the president of the federation?
The word flexibility is fundamental, no? And you have to understand, in a moment of crisis, there is a lot of difficulties, but there is a lot of opportunities. So you have to work in preparation of the new future will come very soon.
What do you mean by the new future in your case?
I'm ready to reshape also my way to see my communication, my marketing actions. So try to speak now when everybody waiting. I try to go to contact the stakeholders, say, okay, we are ready to prepare a new concept to present to our clients, spectators, and so on. So you have to work now to prepare tomorrow's or the future for my sport, my federation, reshaping. Instead to wait, sitting down, say, oh, we wait, something will happen. No. We try to figure out our future. I see that, okay, it's not easy, of course, but you have to be proactive and then move forward. So the world, the economy, everything will run again fast and fast.
Be proactive. I think it's a very important principle at this moment. And what do you think Beijing making its effort to host this Winter Games despite all the challenges we mentioned earlier?
That show Beijing and the Chinese government have that vision of the future. They work to create something for the future. They are brave to take also this challenge because it's easy to have a summer Olympics. Winter Olympics mean, and the first time ever one city have the summer and the winter edition of the games is important. I think that show the government has a vision in the future to expand the quality of life of their citizens, because also in the winter, 300 million people practicing sport in China. It will be a huge step forward also in the quality of life of the healthy people. That's very important. So just make skating in some small park, not just in Harbin, but also in other places. But that show you think as a nation to the quality of life of your citizens.
As we know, this is the very first time for Beijing to host the Winter Games. And for China, many Chinese have access to the Winter Games, winter sports, mainly in northeastern part of China. But the majority of the Chinese territory did not have access to it. And yet, with Beijing hosting the first Winter Olympic Games, you see that enthusiasm, among this 1.4 billion. And people were talking about there's likely to be 300 million or 400 million that will be into the sport eventually. So what would that mean to your sport? And also, what would that mean when a country that did not have, 100% access to winter sport could be, in love with winter sport? What does that mean globally?
Winter sport, there are different kinds. So if you do cross country, if you do my sport in general, okay, you have to be related to a relative cold location. But also cross country, you can do that with a ski roll. So you can do in south in summer for training. So, but you have also the chance to use for hockey or ice hockey. So use some location in south because we need some sport facilities indoor. So you can do now. You have the idea to produce some, let me say, figure skating, fantastic athletes from the south of China, from almost tropical lands, because you have the chance to have there these facilities, and then you can train there. So winter sport is possible to having globally if you use some indoor to develop all the rest. So I think it's a new way to approach winter sport. And then also for most of the Chinese people, the winter is not the bad weather. It's just the cold weather. So you can live outside, like for the European, for everyone. You can live outside, enjoy outside your free time in a different way.
Being the president of a federation that is one of the most popular winter sports for the Winter Olympics, how are you and your colleagues preparing for that moment?
But me and my colleagues, we are preparing these games since 7 years, when Beijing won the bid, and then we start to coordinate our work with the organizing committee, boycott. And I want to say, the work with boycott was one of the best cooperation ever with the organizing committee. Believe me, it's something, I experienced. I organized the games in Torino 2006 also, so as an organizer. So the experience with boycott was something unique, fantastic, really a great cooperation. And then, okay, we have to face some problems, but always with open mind. That was a great moment. So we approached the game.
So? I mean, maybe people would say, "Oh, Ivo just being polite in saying so." Were there some stories you can share with us how it works?
Everybody called me sharp, because I said the things very sharp. So I don't have too many filter in this regard. So, and but again, we had a lot of discussion regarding, at the beginning, location of the venues or the things. But, the thing is, and I was surprised because when we write some questions, okay, let's talk. No, normally said, oh, no. And somebody, because they have decided, I don't know, in a different way, said, okay, let's talk. And frankly speaking, today, with the board of the organizing committee, I said, we are friends. Normally we fight in the last second, because it's something to pull in this regards and so on. But in particular with John Dong, Mr. John Dong and Xuan in particular, we are very good friends. Anyway, discussion, always, because we have some issue, but always, frankly speaking, very open mind. So I don't want to give flower to anyone, I'm not the person. What I have to say, I'm surprised. We are the last mile of the marathon. And the only thing I have to say, don't lose the focus, because everything is good at the moment.
How do you expect the athletes would perform?
It's important to understand for athletes, when they understood the things, when they are focused in the goal, they don't care. They are already in their mind bubble and then physical bubble. So for them, it don't change too much.
So you think there's going to be terrific performance this year? You will see 2022.
You will see fantastic results in Beijing. Don't think that the level will be lower than before. No. They will be extremely high. You will see some records that wow, they did record also in this particular condition. Of course, because the athletes, they want to perform, they want to win. So they, not because it's a pandemic, they reduce the level of training on the level of effort to win. They want to win. If for winning, you have to work more than the 100%. So, and then they will be ready in Beijing in February to show their capacity. No doubt about it.
We all have to adjust. The speed of adjusting almost decides on the fate of the speed to succeed in a way. So it seems that you are the first to remind your athletes to be able to adjust and also triumph in a way.
Exactly. The word, I think the fundamental word is flexibility. We have to be flexible. Sometimes people say, oh, but we always did in this way. No. When you think that nothing can change, you're already blocked in your position. So everything can change. And you see, with the crazy virus, nobody can see. We have to change our habits, our life, our economy, everything. So our freedom is different. And so that's the way to approach the life. Everything can change tomorrow and after tomorrow again. So if you are not flexible, you're out. And in these regards, I think a good learning was from Agenda 2020 from President Bach, flexibility and able to change. And in front of the office of Thomas Bach, President of IOC, there is a phrase on the wall: change or be changed.
Well said. President of the International Bobsleigh and Skeleton Federation, talking about the upcoming Winter Olympics in Beijing. That's all we have for today. If you'd like to see more, search World Insight or check out our YouTube channel. Follow us on Twitter and Facebook. I'm Tian Wei on behalf of my team. Thanks for watching. Bye for now.